What's going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 23 Ultimate Team video. In today's video, we're going to go over the best free player predictor cards in MUT 23, show you how to get 2 of them for free, and also talk about how they get upgraded. Now, if you guys enjoy this video, if you like it, if it helps you out, make sure to go ahead and click that thumbs up button. Shows a lot of support on the channel, helps the videos get noticed. Also, if you're brand new here, you are searching around YouTube for MUT 23 content, whether it's how to make coins, how to get free players, how to build your ultimate team, you found the right channel for everything. Stay a while, click that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on as well so you guys are alerted when we drop additional videos. Let's get right on into it. So you can get 2 of these player predictor tokens or collectibles for free, and they're going to allow you to pick 2 free cards of your choice. And those cards can get upgraded based on how far those teams go in the playoffs. So number 1, if you read the description on this token, it says you've earned a player predictor token. Use player predictor tokens to exchange them in sets for a playoff wildcard player. Now that's actually not limited to just wildcard players. We'll show you that in a moment. This item will quick sell for 35,000 coins after January 14th at 3 p.m. That is also worth pointing out that you need to make your decision before that date, because if you do not, then it's too late. These cards have a base level overall, but that overall can increase based on how the games go this weekend and throughout the entire playoffs. Now, how do you earn these predictor tokens? A lot of you probably already have them, might not even know it. They're fairly easy to obtain. If you go over to your field passes and down to the playoff field pass, you're going to see that at levels 2 and levels 4, you're going to get those collectibles, and that's it. Those are the only places to get these, and you're only limited, or you are limited to 2 of them, so you can't get any more. You get one at level 2, like I said, 1,000 XP, extremely easy to obtain, and then one at level 4, 3,500 XP. Don't get these confused. These are player predictor tokens. Don't get these confused with the playoff predictor tokens. Those are going to be used to predict what happens in the actual games, not so much based off of a player, but a situation in the game or who wins the games. And you're going to be able to earn a lot more of these via this field pass and solo challenges, and there's an exchange set. We're going to drop a video later this afternoon going over the best way to use these playoff predictor tokens, but let's get back to the playoff player predictor tokens. I know it can sound a little bit confusing. So you got your 2 collectibles. The next step is to head on over to your item sets. From there, the easiest way to find them is use your filters on the left hand side, go down to programs, scroll down a little bit, and it's a bit of a tongue twister, but you're going to look for the playoffs player predictors. There's 14 of these sets, and basically you're going to take a token and put it into a set of a player that you want. And again, you can get 2 of them because you get the 2 tokens. That's where you're limited. There's no way that I know of to buy these cards off of the auction house or obtain them any other way. So once you make your decision, that's it. So if you need 1 or 2 of these players for theme teams, you better pick those. Like, throw everything else out of the window, because there's not going to be any other way to get these cards if you need them for a theme team. And there's a player for each team that has made the NFL playoffs. Now, I do want to sort them by overall, because you're going to notice that 2 of them are 91 overalls and the rest are 90s. So the way this is going to work is basically the further these players' teams progress in the playoffs, the higher their overall gets. So when you look at the Eagles and the Chiefs, they have a first round bye. They're automatically in the next round of the playoffs. Their cards are going to start at a 91 overall. Everybody else who's playing in the wild card round this weekend, their cards are going to be at 90 overalls. Now, if they win, like the Chargers win this weekend over the Jags, this Asante Samuel Jr. card will get bumped up to a 91. And it's not something that's going to happen right away. So as soon as that game concludes over the weekend, he's not going to be a 91, assuming that the Chargers win. More than likely, it'll be like Monday or Tuesday. I know Monday's a holiday this weekend, so it probably won't be until Tuesday, but those overalls will eventually go up. And it will continue to work that way. So if the Chargers win their next game, then that card will bump up to a 92 overall, and they will be in the conference championship. If they win that game and get to the Super Bowl, it's going to bump up again to a 93 overall. And my assumption is that if they win the Super Bowl, it will then go to a 94 overall. So now let's go through each and every card, and I'm going to give you my opinion on the card as is, and I'm going to be using my opinion on how far I think these players' teams go in the playoffs. And some of you might just disagree on that, right? Like, if you don't think this certain team is going to get to the Super Bowl and I do, then you're going to have to make your decision decision based on how you feel about that team and how far they're going to progress through the playoffs. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm an Eagle fan, guys, so I'm probably going to be biased towards this Landon Dickerson. I'll just give you that up front, right? So one more time, if you need these cards for a theme team, don't listen to anything I say. Go ahead and pick those cards up for your theme teams. Otherwise, let's go through them. We're going to start with the Ravens and Calais Campbell, and let's just be real. It doesn't look like Lamar Jackson is playing this weekend. I don't think they win and beat the Bengals based off of that. But even if they do, right, even if they pull off the upset, look at this card, okay? He's only going to go up to 84, maybe 85 speed and a 91 overall. Are the Ravens going to move past that round? Unlikely. They're going to have to go on the road, play another really good team, probably the Chiefs or Bills. So I don't think, even if they could pull off the upset this 1 week, I just don't think in the long run this card projects well enough to be good. Even if they win a second round game, we're still only looking at like 85, 86 speed. That's really slow for defensive ends right now. Next is going to be Jalen Phillips, and I feel kind of the same way about this one. I just don't see the Dolphins beating the Bills in Buffalo without Tua. If Tua was playing, might be a different story. So at the end of the day, I think this card gets stuck at a 90 overall. If they hypothetically win that game, it would go up to 93 speed, which is pretty fast. Finesse move would probably be 91, but even if you take a look, for a speed rusher to have both block shed and power move not even be in the 80s, and even if they won that game, it would bump up only to a 79. I still don't think this card is worth it. So, you know, this is another one that I would pass on. And it's unfortunate because he had a really, really good and usable card at the end of MUT 22 last year. And I'm not sure what they did with this one, giving him such low block shed and power move. The Jaguars playoff predictor card is going to be Cam Robinson, left tackle, 90 overall. And I do think that the Jags can beat the Chargers. Will they? I don't know. I think that game's going to be pretty close, and I think it's going to be an interesting one at the end of the day. But even if the Jags do, it's another team I just don't see moving past the first round, even though they are playing better football than, you know, a lot of teams, not in the playoffs, but just in general. They've been playing very good football over the last month or so. But we've got an overload at the left tackle position lately, and a lot of free cards at that position, whether it's like the stocking stuffers, Jordan Mailata. There was a couple Campus Hero cards. Yesterday, we got some 93 overall playoff cards that are at the left tackle position. So 93 strength, 89 awareness, the pass block at 89, the run block at 87. Best case scenario, Jags win a game or even two. They pull off some crazy upsets. This card still, to me, doesn't project very well to be a good card or better than a lot of the inexpensive and free left tackles that we've seen over the last couple days, or couple weeks, I should say. Asante Samuel, Chargers, they're going against the Jaguars. And again, I think this game is almost a coin flip. I would think that the Chargers probably have the slight edge here. This card, 5'10" cornerback, so that's a little bit of a detriment to him alone there, but he's been playing IRL really, really well. And of course, his father is a legend, Eagles legend, that is. So 92 speed, 88 zone coverage, 90 manned. I think that the things that get me on this one are the 85 play rec and the 85 press. So if the Chargers win, and they are certainly capable of maybe going 2 wins, right? Getting 2 wins, going 2 rounds here, we could be looking at a 94 speed corner with man and zone in the 90s, and that would be pretty good for a slot defender or even like a 4th CB on your depth chart here. But the play rec and the press, they would need to get bumped up, you know, very high, much better in the 90s for this card to be usable. So potential, but those two things, those two attributes really worry me a lot. If you believe in the Seahawks pulling off an upset, this wouldn't be a bad pick. Marquise Goodwin, Eagles legend, I might add there, because then we're looking at 94 speed. Now, will they win another game after that? Can they actually beat the 49ers? Niners are playing the best football in the entire league. I don't think it happens, but, you know, 94 speed would be pretty fast. The problem here is that we have a bunch of free 94 speed cards at the wide receiver position. I think Scotty Miller was one of them that we could get yesterday. So, you know, even if they pull off the upset, even if they go 2 rounds, I don't think there's much that separates this card from some of the free and cheap and expensive players at wide receiver. So this is just another one that I would pass on. In some crazy hypothetical mad world, the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. Dalton Schultz gets upgraded to a 94 overall. This is still not a good pick because you got free Donald Parham from the Frozen Forge solos at tight end, and we got Rob Gronkowski, part of the Season 3 Fail Pass, a free 98 overall card at the tight end position that you can earn. And I mean, even Dave Casper is still better than this card as is. So if you're a Cowboy fan, you believe in your team, go ahead and pick up the card here. I personally think and maybe I'm using reverse psychology here, I think the Cowboys actually beat the Buccaneers this weekend. If they do, we're still looking at an 89 speed tight end, and even if they win the Super Bowl in a crazy world, we're still only looking at about a 92 speed tight end. And there's just, so many other options out there. Taysom Hill was a free card from the Zero Chill Field Pass that would be much better than this one. So again, Cowboy hate aside, I just don't think this would be worth a pick. One of the very trendy picks is that the Giants are going to beat the Vikings this weekend. I just don't see it happening, but if they do, Julian Love, a little bit potential here, right? Because then he'd bump up to 93 speed, 89 man coverage, 91 zone, and we're trying to get that man and zone coverage in the 90s. We'd be pretty close, and strategy items could probably get you there with the man coverage. Problem is, he's 5'11", so personally, I don't think the Giants beat the Vikings, and if they do, the +1s on this card would make him look a little bit better, but he's still going to be shorter. And then you would have to believe that somehow the Giants are going to continue to win games in the playoffs for this card to get into the 94, 95 speed range, which we're seeing a lot of the elite cards in the game get. So another one I would pass on. I said it a moment ago, I think the Cowboys beat the Bucs. A lot of people are going with Tom Brady and the Bucs to, make a run in the playoffs, and I totally get the thinking there. It's Tom Brady at the end of the day. So if you believe in Tom and you need a wide receiver, take a look at this Chris Godwin. I think for a 90 overall card, he looks pretty solid. I haven't talked much about abilities on these cards just because I don't think they're going to get upgraded very far so far from the ones that we spoke about, but Godwin would get slot apprentice, or does get slot apprentice for 1 AP, which is really good if you're not rocking a quarterback with Hot Route Master. So this card projects well, and if you believe that the Bucs and Tom Brady are going to make a run, I would not be disappointed in you if you use one of your 2 tokens on this card. A lot of people, we said this a moment ago, think that the Vikings are going to get knocked off early in the playoffs. I don't think so. I think they're a pretty solid team. They've looked terrible in a couple games, and I totally get the doubters if so because of that, but Harrison Smith really has a lot of good MUT items throughout the years, and this one could be a solid card. His man coverage is atrocious, so that would be a reason why I wouldn't personally use him, but he's 6'2", right now at 91 speed, 91 hit power, 89 zone. Winning that first game against the Giants would get that up into the 90s, and you definitely want 90 plus zone on any safeties in the game right now. Unfortunately, with him and his abilities, he only would get Crusher for 1 AP, which I don't think is the greatest ability to be using right now in the game, so that kind of, hurts him as well. But, do you think the Vikings can make a run, maybe get to the NFC Championship or even the Super Bowl? Can they beat the 49ers? If so, we're looking at, 93 speed, zone would be 91, 92, hit power would be 90 plus. I mean, it already is. The man coverage would be the problem, but this would be a pretty good user card or a deep safety to play through. So another one that I wouldn't be mad at the pick if you believe in the Vikings. I think they get past the first round. Them versus 49ers is the likely matchup. That would be a really interesting game. I'm not entirely sold on Brock Purdy just yet, but because it would be in San Francisco, I think the 49ers would get that game or get that win. And that kind of transitions us over to Kyle Juszczyk, who is a fullback, and we talk about this a lot, guys. You don't typically want to spend your coins on a fullback in this game, but to get a good one is definitely going to help your squad. So, 49ers are the hottest team in football. Let's just be real. I think they're, on a 10-game winning streak right now, and a lot of people believe in the 49ers. I think that they beat the Seahawks there, so they move on to round 2. We're now looking at 88 speed. Lead block would be at 90. Carry would be at 89. I do think they did him kind of dirty with the run block. We would need that at least in the 80s. I would like it to be a lot better. So this is a card where I believe in the 49ers, and I think it's a position where you could save yourself some coin and get a usable card at the position, especially if you like to throw the ball to your fullback or you have a formation that does that. But I just wish they made this card have better run block at the end of the day. The AFC is extremely interesting, and if you took this strategy that I'm going to say here, it's kind of worth it. So Bengals, Bills, Chiefs. I feel very confident that one of those 3 teams is going to make it to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. So one strategy that you could take is use 2 of your tokens on 2 of those 3 teams that I just mentioned, and if you pick one of them to make the Super Bowl or be the right team, then you're going to end up with a 93 overall card with a possible chance at a 94. Jermaine Pratt, middle linebacker, 6'2" with 90 speed. So say he gets bumped up to the 93 at bare minimum. We're now looking at a 93 speed linebacker with 87 zone. Hit power would be in the 90s. Block shed would still be pretty low, but tackle and play rec would be good. He does get lurker for 1 AP, so I think this would be an extremely usable middle linebacker, whether you're going to user him or just let the AI control him. It would be a pretty solid card, and remember, on your depth chart, you need 4 middle linebackers, and MLB number 2 affects your overall, so if you're just one of those nerds that wants a higher overall, this card could help you get there. So that's a pretty solid pickup, and I think the Bengals do have the potential chance to get to the Super Bowl again like they did last year. They're playing really, really good football. The Bills, Isaiah McKenzie here, 5'8", on the shorter side. Unfortunately, it would have been nicer to see like a Stephon Diggs or even Gabriel Davis. This McKenzie does get short out elite for 1 AP, so that's a really good ability for wide receivers. I think he would serve well as a slot receiver, being that he's not that tall, and he comes with 93 stock speed. So, you know, if the Bills can make it to the Super Bowl, we're now looking at a 96 speed wide receiver, and if they can win the Super Bowl, we're looking at 97 speed. So good route running would be there. You know, if they continue to win games, that would be in the 90s. He'd be really fast. He gets one of the better abilities. So I think this is a really good choice to use your token on, because I do believe in the Bills. I think they could get to the Super Bowl, and I think a lot of you probably do as well. The card projects very well, and he gets a good ability. The final AFC card is going to be Carlos Dunlap, and he starts at a 91 overall, so if they win their first game there, they being the Chiefs, we're now going to see him get into 90 speed. Even if he gets to a 94, the Chiefs win it all, we're now looking at like 92 speed, which is pretty good, but that's a lot of work to win the Super Bowl and still not be one of the faster cards in the game. The finesse move and block shed already being the 90s is a W, so it really just depends on how far the Chiefs go. I think the whole situation, and I don't know all the scenarios right now, but the situation where, you know, the Chiefs may have to play on a neutral field for the AFC Championship, I think hurts them a lot. They're a very good team, but them playing in Kansas City, one of the toughest places to play in the NFL, them possibly losing that advantage is really, really tough out there. So this card looks pretty good as is with the 90 plus block shed, finesse move, and the speed is a little bit lower there, but it's already at a 91 overall. So if you believe in the Chiefs, go for it. I would still take, out of the 3 cards, I would take Isaiah McKenzie over Carlos Dunlap and Jermaine Pratt. And if we went with the strategy where you're taking 2 out of the 3, I'd probably go Dunlap and Buffalo with Isaiah McKenzie, because I think those are the 2 teams that are probably going to get to the AFC Championship and then, you know, eventually into the Super Bowl. And then finally, we have Landon Dickerson, and I told you, don't be surprised here. I told you at the beginning of the video I was going to be biased here. Already at a 91 overall. He's a left guard. It's a position you don't want to spend your coins on. 93 strength, 89 awareness. The pass block is terrible at 87, which is disrespectful to him, and then the run block being good at 92, but we haven't seen a ton of very good free left guards out there. I mean, there was a stocking stuffer, Lincoln Tomlinson, that would be better than this card as it stands. He does get post up for 1 AP, which is really good for a guard, and now I believe that the Eagles can get to the Super Bowl. Will they? Haven't been playing their best football to close out the season, but Jalen Hurts is back, so at the end of the day, if you believe in the Eagles, definitely pick up Landon Dickerson, because this is a position that you can save yourself some coin on and get yourself a really good free player. But I still think, you know, the best strategy to me is probably pick 2 of those 3 AFC teams, because the NFC to me feels a little bit wide open between the Eagles, the Bucks, potentially the Cowboys. I know I sound crazy there. Of course, the 49ers, the Vikings, whereas the AFC, it seems like it's definitely going to come down to those 3 teams. So if you make the right choice, you got 2 shots to pick it there out of those 3 teams. That's where I would use my tokens, and I think Isaiah McKenzie should be a lock for you to pick just because of the speed factor. So let me know who you're using your 2 tokens on down below in the comment section, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to another video. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.